Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Craig Perra from The Mindful Habit, and you are listening to Sex Afflictions and Porn Addiction, a podcast designed to empower you to create healthy sexuality in your life and a great life. Guys, ladies, friends, colleagues, countrymen, I am so excited to have this guest on my podcast. Her name is Sandy, and I'm brief introduction because she's going to do the talking for herself, but she is an incredible woman who has overcome some really challenging things in her life and is now helping people all over the world with this problem. It is truly an honor, and I hate to put people in a bucket, but she is the partner of a sex addict. She is so much more than that, but that's where she fits into this puzzle. So, Sandy, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Craig, for having me.
It is so important for you people who are listening to please hear this story. Please listen to Sandy because, number one, your partners out there who are listening, I hear so often, I feel like I'm alone. There's so much shame around this. What did I do? How did this happen? I have no one to talk to. And for you guys, one of the skills that we need to learn is empathy. You know, I never would have betrayed my wife like I did if I had honed that part of me, if I was empathetic and hearing other people's stories and seeing the pain that you cause, something that I hear every day. I talk to a partner every day, and I'm reminded of the pain and suffering that I put upon the most important person in my life. And I'm so blessed to, I feel like it's me restoring my, the karmic balance and helping partners move forward. And Sandy's one of those people. Sandy, bring me back. You know, where did this journey start for you?
This journey of finding out about porn and sex addiction began technically, Discovery Day was July 20th of 2016. Innocently, he received a phone call from his sister, and she wanted to talk to me. So he gave me his phone. We were actually driving down the highway. Gave me his phone so I could talk to her. When I hung up his phone, just as I hung up, an email came through from Forbidden Fruit, and it said Monday again. And I knew right then and there he was having affairs.
Now, Forbidden Fruit, just for those of us who aren't familiar, what is that?
That was an email. I'm not going to give the rest of the email, but her email address was Forbidden Fruit. And her name was there. I will not say her name either.
So this is a real person. This isn't some spam. This is infidelity. He is cheating.
Right. So I asked him who she was, and he grabbed his phone out of my hand and put it on his left side. Because remember, he's driving and we're on the highway. And I asked him again, who is she? And he said she was a supplier. And he works for a company that would not have fruit at it. It has building supplies. And I said, what kind of forbidden fruit is she supplying your company? And he didn't say anything. And therein lies, when we got to where our destination, he then said I had a confession to make. And I said, no guff. And told me that he was having 2 online affairs with women from another country. I'm in Canada, and it was from the States. And over the course of a few days, I found out that it was more than 2 women. By him, he said more than 2 women, and he wasn't sure the number. And then 3 days later, I find out that he disclosed that he actually had 2 in-person affairs. He went into treatment, and for almost 6 weeks, just a few days shy of 6 weeks.
Well, let me stop there. I want to stop you there, Sandy.
Sure.
What did that feel like when you finally discovered something?
When I was just in shock. I was in complete trauma shock. If somebody had asked me the day before or said to me my husband was having an affair, I would tell them they were effing crazy. There was no way that my husband would be having an affair. Bear in mind, we were in marriage counseling for almost 2.5 years, right up to this point, because of intimacy issues.
I mean, what a fraud, right? I mean, here you
Yes.
are getting counseling. Here you are
Yes.
moving forward. And
Yes.
you guys listening, right? I mean, you've
Yes.
been there before, right, guys? You've been in that place, the hiding the phone, right? The
Yes.
freaking out, the nervousness, the anxiety.
Yes.
Guys, it's time to come clean, brothers, because that's no way to live. Not only are you betraying your partner, but you're making yourself sick on the inside, carrying that stress around.
Well,
and yeah.
He had given up all those things that he had passion for, watching hockey. He would start watching a game and he couldn't stay off the computer. So he would leave the living room, go back to the kitchen where his laptop was. His phone was always on, always in his hand, because he was emailing and messaging these people. He had ended up a number of online affairs. So he gave up music. He stopped playing his guitars. He just was not engaged in anything. He wasn't engaged in us. I felt completely and utterly invisible. And I kept saying while we were in counseling, what's wrong with me? What am I doing wrong? How can I change? What is it that you don't want me anymore? What is it that you don't find me attractive, that you don't desire me? And he kept saying, I don't desire anyone. And I would say, I know you do, because I see you looking at other women. I see it, and you make comments about other women. You make sex jokes. You cross the line. You flirt with other women. And when I tell you it's disrespectful to me, it doesn't matter. You said, oh, they like it. That's so that was what was coming out in our therapy. But he kept saying then he resented me for how much time I did doing my schooling, my master's. Well, I assume it's my master's. Maybe it was my undergrad earlier, a number of years earlier.
So let me ask you a question there, Sandy, because that initial shock I find from partners is, like you mentioned, hey, if someone asked me the day before, I would have said you're crazy. But then a lot of the partners, once the depth of that shock settles, they realize that, wait, this should never have been a surprise. He was disengaged, disconnected, out of it. Is that your story as well?
Absolutely. And then it all made sense. It actually all made sense. And in that, as odd as this sounds, there was some relief. There was some relief.
Yeah, I hear that often.
That, you know what? I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything. I couldn't control him. I couldn't control his actions. I can't control his behavior. We had, even through marriage counseling, because the computer was an issue, that by 7 o'clock at night, no phones, no laptops. It would last one night, and then he would be back on.
He couldn't stay away.
He couldn't stay away. And then it would be, well, I have to return emails for work. But it wasn't. He wouldn't show. Every time he always, the way his laptop was, you couldn't walk by and see what was on his screen. You had to go behind him, which was the patio door. And so you had to purposefully, and he would have had to move out of the way, kind of thing. So if you came close, he always just changed his screen. He always did something. I'm assuming it's changed his screen. Because he was never he could never stay away. And I found emails eventually that, because he had a secret email account himself, and plus an old email account that he was using that I didn't have passwords for. And he wouldn't give me passwords. He had passwords for everything of mine, and I didn't have passwords for his emails. And I didn't know about some of the emails he had, the email accounts he had. I had no clue. And I never would have thought he would have had those.
How lonely were you when all of this was going on?
Devastatingly lonely. Some of my most lonely times was when he was sitting right beside me, but his phone was in his hand.
Wow.
Very lonely.
Wow. Wow.
I can't describe the feeling. I was starting to change in the closet or in the bathroom because I couldn't stand if I changed in front of him, got dressed or undressed, ready for bed when he was in the room, because he would always look around me or he would never look at me. And the pain of that was so incredibly great, that what is so wrong with me that he can't look at me as his wife, as his partner, as his lover. And it was because I did nothing for him.
Wow.
I did nothing for him in that.
So there came a time, Sandy, where enough was enough. And how long were the two of you together?
34 years.
34 years, a lifetime.
Mm-hmm. I was 20 years old
when you guys first met.
Mm-hmm. Well, we first met when I was 17, but when we first got together, I was 20 years old.
Wow. There came a time when something had to change, when you knew this you couldn't continue moving in this direction any further for your own well-being, your own sanity. Describe for me that moment. Or was it a moment? Was it an accumulate? Tell me about it.
Well, because of my profession,
tell us what that is.
Okay, I'm a registered psychotherapist and I'm a trauma specialist.
Yes.
And by the way, it doesn't matter how much education you have. It doesn't matter how much training you have. It doesn't matter how much you can help other people. When you are going through a traumatic event, a traumatic situation, all of that goes out the window and you need just as much support as anyone else.
So true.
And so, because I've had friends say, well, good thing you do what you do because you know what to do for yourself. I didn't. I was on autopilot. And at the time, our house of 27 years, we had sold it. We were in the middle of building another house. So I ended up, thankfully with my son, packing up that house. There was so much to do. So I was literally on autopilot. I ended up having to take a month off work because I couldn't focus on my clients. I was just in trauma. And anyway, I ended up having to go to the hospital and get sleeping pills because I was not sleeping.
You're a mess.
I was a mess. I wasn't eating. During that first month, I lost about 20 pounds. After he got out of treatment, I gained some of that back. But in all of this, I have lost about 40 pounds now because of, I just can't, I have a hard time with eating. I make myself eat. I try to make myself eat healthy. So that's probably another reason I'm losing some weight as well. I'm eating much healthier when I do eat, but I know I have to really focus. I am back to work and I have been back to work, and I thank goodness so God for my clients, because in helping them, I help myself. But when I realized that, I got a therapist. I went back to the therapist who was our marriage counselor because she's a trauma specialist as well. I tried to do a CSAT, which is a certified sex addiction therapist. I did not have a connection with that person, and I did not like the philosophy of that program. It didn't meet my needs and didn't meet my philosophies. And so I went back and I just saw sometimes 3 times a week my therapist. And while he was in treatment, and to try to get, and then continue, that's ongoing. Seeing my therapist is ongoing.
Self-care is the most important piece when someone is in that place. How did you honor your self-care, Sandy? What did you do to make sure that you talked about forcing yourself to eat? What else did you do to make sure that you were honoring your mind, body, and spirit to the prioritizing you over everything else, which is the opposite of what you've been doing all your life?
Well, one of the things, again, given my profession, I research and I found the mindful habit. And the manual from your wife, Michelle, was my lifeline.
Wow.
I didn't feel alone, and I felt she's reading my mind. Like they're reading my mind. Everything that I was thinking and feeling was right in that manual. And so I felt a connection. And you know, I was so happy when the partner empowerment page on Facebook came up, because it was, oh my goodness, I have this connection with these other people, and so that's part of my self-care, and I went on that page every single day.
I
That's part of
remember.
self-care. The other is that I made myself go for walks.
So hold on, I want to break this
Yeah.
down so people paying attention
Yes.
don't lose this. So partners, we have a partner empowerment group. It's free. You can go to the website, themindfulhabit.com, and sign up to connect with other partners who are going through what you're going through. It's a secret group. None of your friends know, and that falls under the communication category. You have got to communicate. You have got to connect. You have got to, you can't keep this in. You may not be able to share it with your parents. You may not be able to share it with auntie. You may not be able to share it with the kids, but you got to share it with somebody, right, Sandy?
Yes, and absolutely. You have to, you can't keep it inside. And that was my, and just so everybody knows, it's not about bashing your partner. It's not about taking down your partner and saying what a effing, person that person is. It's about, this is what I'm going through. Help me, please. This is what I'm going through. And other partners say, I've gone through it too. What can you do for yourself? Or the coaches, Coach Tara, you come on, Coach George comes on, and it's wonderful. And it's about what can we do for ourselves. It's really, truly about empowering ourselves. And through that site, and through my work with my therapist, I gained my own strength. I gained my own identity. And I gained me. I gained me. And that I didn't deserve this. I didn't ask for it. I didn't deserve it. And I need to respect me. And I gained me. And and I still am an active participant. And now I try to help other partners as much as I can.
And I have found that, when I was going through something, I wanted to find someone who's been there, who's been through it. I don't want anybody who reads about this in books. And so you made the decision to advance your education and training.
Yes.
You became a certified mindful habit coach.
Yes.
And now working with partners all over this, great planet to help people, help partners become the best versions of themselves. What do you want to say, Sandy, to those partners who are listening? Because, thousands and thousands of people hear this podcast, and a lot of people, they listen, they don't call. That's okay. But I want them to leave this podcast with your message, with your heart and your soul, so they know they're not alone, and there's something that they can do. What advice do you have for the partners out there listening?
I am one of the most honored and grateful people to find the mindful habit. And I am honored and tremendously proud of the fact that I am a mindful habit certified coach. And it's fabulous. And helping others through this time, and helping others navigate discovery and disclosure and all that goes along with it. I want these people to know, you are not alone. You are not alone. There's so many who has gone through very similar things that you're going through right now. I want to describe the butterfly. I know another coach, another colleague uses a butterfly as well, and I'm the empowered butterfly. I'm empoweringcounseling.ca. The empowered butterfly is a component of that. I use the analogy of the butterfly. It is during our deepest, darkest, painful time, just like a butterfly in a cocoon, in which our power grows. It is during that time that we develop and we get our wings, our wings, just like the metamorphosis of a butterfly. And we can't have somebody rip open that cocoon and fix it for us, because our wings will be clipped. It is through our own development, our own journey of that darkness and that loneliness, when we emerge from that cocoon, we have our freedom and our independence. And I'm not for a second suggesting that you need to leave your partner. I am not suggesting that at all. Your freedom is about you. Your freedom is about your independence and your growth as an individual, and you're empowered. And in that darkness is where that empowerment is developed. And that's what you can get through this dark time, and you will be, I promise you will be stronger for it.
Oh my goodness. Thank you, Sandy, so much. It's, you know, there's something, I don't know the word I'm looking for, but it's through this crisis. I mean, the pain, yes, the suffering, the tears, the weight loss, the anxiety, the blood pressure, the heart palpitations, the physical, you know, manifestation of pain and depression, yes, and sadness.
Yes. You forgot the sleepless nights.
The sleepless nights, the insecurity, the feeling low, ugly, disgusting, worthless. Is the opportunity to find that worth, to find you, and it's something unique to my women. I'm always careful when I generalize, but I'm just generally speaking, all of my partner clients, they've been the mother in the home. They've been the the caretaker, not just caring for the children, caring for the husband, giving, and that's wonderful. But there's a time when that giving, when you begin to lose yourself, and this crisis presents the opportunity to find yourself and live the life that you were destined to live, to shatter the illusion that you've created for yourself. Right? This is okay. This is normal. No, I don't feel loved. I don't feel honored. I don't feel respected. It is not okay. What does the future hold for you, Sandy? Because I am so excited to see your career blossom. I can't wait to, and I've already started to hear stories of the people that you've helped, and you know, people experiencing this incredible change. But what does the future hold for you? Because you're just getting warmed up.
I am. The possibilities are endless. I'm working with a colleague, Allison, for the Butterfly Nation on a radio show, a blog talk radio / the Butterfly Nation. So every Sunday we're doing, we'll do a process talk and ask for call-ins on that regarding our next show is about Discovery Day, what that's like, but it's going to be about empowerment. It's going to be about, yes, this is what you can experience, but how do you empower yourself through it? How do you get through the trauma? We're going to talk about the 13 dimensions of sex addiction-induced trauma by Manuela. We're going to address that. There is so much. I am starting a blog and podcast for the Empowered Butterfly, giving talks about the trauma-based. Since I'm a trauma specialist, I do trauma-based, how this affects us in a traumatic way and what that does to our whole physical system, our brain and everything, but how we can get through that. And it's going to be all about empowerment. That's why I'm empowering counseling. That's why it's the Empowered Butterfly. It's about your worth. It's about growth. So for me, this is all the silver lining. The other thing I hope to do in the future is I want to give talks in high school to both male and female students about the possibility of porn addiction, because this affliction, sex affliction, usually starts in adolescence. That is the age in which to warn people that how easy it is to become addicted, because of we've got tablets and phones and like just at our fingertips all the time. So those are things that I've got going in the fire. I'm going to grow. For me personally, I have plans for traveling in the future. I've got my vision board started. I'm working on me, and I'm going to continue, and I'm going to be a better therapist because of this. I'm going to be a better woman because of this, and I'm going to have my bar set high moving forward for any potential partner, because I'm not right now, no, but I know in the future, I don't want to be alone. I want to be with someone, but my bar is high. My bar is high for a potential partner, and what my expectations will be. And they're not unreasonable expectations. They're all about respect, truth, honesty, loyalty, empathy, and compassion.
That's beautiful. That is so, it's as you're talking, Sandy, I noticed that you kept saying this word. It's about empowerment. It's about empowerment, saying that almost to distinguish it from other programs or other, and this is where my mind goes, other programs. And it's, we have to keep saying this because there is a reality out there where the partner's help that they receive just drives almost an addiction to their husband's addiction. Everything is through that lens. And what I've learned and what you've learned is how toxic that lens is, how toxic traditional is for a lot of people who are trying to get help. And listen, these people have the best intentions, but they're not focusing where they need to focus, and that is this empowerment. Why you keep saying that word? Why is that so important to you?
Because, if I may, I went to one of those other programs as the partner, and what I found was that there was many other partners there, or ex-partners there, who had been going for years and years and years. And
years and years and years.
15 years. 15 years.
Listen, 15. I love my partners. I love my partners. I want to give them all a big hug. I want to be working with them in another capacity a year from now, not 15 years from now. Excuse me, but if you're on one of these forums and you've been on this forum for years, what you're doing ain't working.
Right. So when there's stories that go around, you share your story. When people break down and cry after 10, after 2 years, after 5, after 10, after 15 years, to me, and this is as a professional, that person is still stuck. That person is still stuck. They may talk that they're empowered and they've reached their God or they found their God. And I'm not saying we can find our God. You can find your God and you can have your God help you. That please know that is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, some of these programs keep us stuck and powerless. And our God can't pull us out. Our God can be there to support us if you have that faith. But our God cannot pull us out. You, and only you can pull you out. That's where your empowerment is. That's where your growth is. That's where your change is. That's where you start to love yourself and care for yourself, is in that empowerment. But you have to be the person of change. Only you can change you. Just like your partner who has this affliction, only that partner can change himself or herself. Only you can change you.
I feel like I should just click the end button right now. There's no reason to continue. Thank you, Sandy. I couldn't have said it better myself, but that is the hole that we've sought to plug with a partner empowerment group, the free Facebook support group, and the program that Tara runs where we have these group coaching calls. Is you ladies have to focus on you, and not through the lens of his addiction. And if you've been in this place for years, something is wrong. Something is broken. There shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way. Sandy, I want to thank you so much for coming on this podcast and showing your face. And I just can't begin to tell you how you personally have enriched my life through sharing your stories, and just how honored and privileged I am that you signed up for the training, that you're carrying this message on to other people. Really, from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you.
And Craig, the feeling is mutual. If you and Michelle hadn't designed the Mindful Habit program, I don't know where I'd be right now. I honestly don't. And from the deepest part of my soul, I have such gratitude. I'm going to cry here. I have it's tears of gratitude that You shared your story. You and Michelle took your horrific experiences and you made something not great. You made something phenomenal. And you're helping so many other people, myself included. And you have trained me in this program and other wonderful people. Just today, one of the other coaches, I've sent a person who has this affliction to one of the coaches because he would like to work with a male. And I was so happy to refer. I was so happy to refer and comfortable and confident in referring. And I am so incredibly grateful. I am honored and I'm privileged. So thank you.
Oh my
and
gosh.
Hopefully one day I can meet you and Michelle in person.
Yes. Well, listen, you're part of the inner circle, Sandy. So we got a room right on point and right over there.
Yeah.
We are, I tell people just to kind of sweeten the pot a little bit, not only to get to hang out with me and Michelle and the fam, but I'm an hour and 45 from Tahoe in one direction, an hour and 45 to San Fran in the other direction, and an amazing to thousands of other touristy destinations. So I would be truly an honored and privileged. We're going to do a retreat one of these days coming up in the next couple of years. And we're actually working on that for those extra special folks, of which you are one. Thank you, Sandy, so much. And for you listeners out there, if you are moved by this podcast, please take action. Right? This isn't a commercial. You don't have to call me. You don't have to call Sandy. You don't. But you got to do something. You got to do something. Although I will say, if you do call us, you're going to get where you want to go faster if you're resonating with this material and with this content. So love you all. Love you, Sandy. Thank you so much for being part of my life. All right, everybody.
Thank you.
Catch you all next week. Remember, life is too short to suck, so embrace your power of choice. Catch you on the flip side. Bye-bye.
And your empowerment.
And your empowerment, exactly.